Alright guys, we got a video that caught my interest here. This is from Tris PWN, and he is trying to figure out which ships and vehicles are remaining, right? Those that have been teased at last year's season con, but we haven't seen yet. This is part 1, so it looks like there's going to be a part 2. This video came out like 23 hours ago, so part 2 is probably not there yet. But let's have a look and let's see what he found.
Hey everyone, it's been quite a while since my last video, but here's why. In December I made a first video about the silhouette teasers from CitizenCon, where I aligned 3D models of existing ships to find out as much as I could about them. Today I will expand on the silhouettes no one really figured out so far. That means it gets a little more speculative, but also a little more entertaining. First I would like to have a look back though at...
Wait a second. Wait a second. Did he create some kind of room in an engine that has all these pictures from season? This is not in the game. This is pretty cool what he did here.
What has been announced and confirmed since then, if only to see how effective all this speculation.
This is not in the game. Wow, why did he do this? I'm trying to look at the wow. Wow, he's got some kind of studio in maybe he did that in Unreal Engine 5, I would imagine, right? But this is really smart. This is really smart. I love
crafting is. 4 of the silhouettes are not out yet, but there has been some more chatter on the Ironclad and the Pioneer in particular, and these I believe everyone agreed on pretty early on. They are quite obvious. 5 more have since been released, namely the Hornet Tracker and Ghost, the Terrapin Medic, the Starlancer Max, the Misfortune and the Guardian. We predicted all of those correctly. I got some angry messages because that is obviously not the Starlancer Max, but the BLD.
Yeah, but that's okay. Look, Trist, you gotta get used to angry messages. People send us, angry messages all the time.
It's announced the same day as the Silhouette video. But only the Max has these headlights, not the BLD and not the TAC. They don't mess up these details by accident. Someone deliberately masked out these lights and placed a lens flare on it. Is the BLD also worked on? Very likely, but this is not it.
Yeah, but we're not gonna see it until there's finally gonna be base building in the game, right?
And the Misfortune, considering there were no leaks I knew of back then, other than the name, because these images here came out much later.
I can't believe I thought it was a mining ship, because that front here does look like a mining ship, right? You guys were right.
I think I made some pretty accurate predictions based on just the silhouette.
But I think this variant will be slimmer around the back, lose the saddlebags, and gain some kind of lift at the bottom. This is the very same scale as the existing Prospector. This is not a mining head, it's a salvage head. So my money is on a Prospector salvage variant. We had the name Misfortune floating around for months now, maybe it's that one.
And then lastly, I correctly...
Right, see, it did look like a mining ship, so even he got
refuted the speculation that these are the Intrepid and the Guardian.
Oh, yeah,
again.
yeah. It totally
there were
was.
some more leaks around those two, so it was a lot easier, but I'm still very satisfied with the prediction on those. Which leaves us with these. The first one, the Argo CSV, could have been one of the 2 we know about, but in part 1 I already explained why I believe this to be a third one. This one,
possible.
Still unknown.
Oh, I cannot wait to see that one. That little truck there. Ooh, can you imagine? You can put like 1 or 2 SCU inside.
I heard the name Grey Cat floating around a lot, even though it has industrial in the name, where this clearly looks military. I'm not going to talk about it either, because
I don't know. It looks like they definitely look like Grey Cat lights in the front.
The thing we thought to be the Guardian or Fat Fury. I have a few little ideas on that one, but I decided late I have to cut this video into 2, and this...
Oh, he doesn't think it's the Guardian.
...will be in the second half. The Atlas shape and the flat silhouette below will be the focus of this video. And then, arguably the most interesting one of them all will take the majority of the second video, because I had a few ideas.
This is like... I cannot wait to see this one. This one looks so funny. It's like... I hope this is for like passenger transport and it's going to be something like the Imperial Shuttle in Star Wars.
Alright, let's get to it. So this is obviously something on the Atlas platform.
It
and
definitely
I showed in part
is.
1,
He's right.
It's not the base building variant we saw snippets of in the past, because it's too small. I got many replies that I thought were great, saying it could be that, just slightly redesigned and having the back part, the trailer if you want, angled away from us, so behind this in the silhouette. But thinking about that for a while, I don't think that is the case. For once, the point of these...
Is he recreating those silhouettes and vehicles in some kind of engine? This is so cool. Well, this guy's got some skills.
Silhouettes is to give us a teaser and
there you go, just
an outline of what to expect. But completely hiding the part that is new and unique to this variant defeats the purpose, I guess. But more importantly, there are no vehicles with independently moving sidecars or trailers in Star Citizen. There are ships like the Hull A and C that basically just change between two shapes.
Oh, so having a trailer would make sense, right? And that having a trailer would definitely add a lot to modularity. I like the idea.
Some of you might remember that even that was an engineering task that kept them busy for months or even years. Here we would be talking about two objects with individual physics simulations.
Not sure about that giant antenna in the back, though.
That has been done in other games. It's pretty easy to do in any 3D software, but as we know, Star Citizen has a history of doing things that have never been done before, but then struggle with other that feel the most easy to implement.
But just here, driving that trailer looks such like a hard task, and that's not even in the Star Citizen engine. That's why, guys, that is why I've been saying that for years. That's why we need roads, so that we can properly transfer those convoys from places to places.
And I think based on everything I have seen in Star Engine, this kind of vehicle would be just the greatest source of physics bugs imaginable. Long story short, this could still be the base building Atlas, just a touch smaller and closer to the existing design. Actually, that is what I believe is the most likely answer.
Goodness.
But I got another great suggestion in the comments that I liked so much that I wanted to explore that instead. Remember, I showed in part 1 it's the same length as a Spartan, but gets higher in the back. Now,
could it be a cargo variant?
A German armored fighting vehicle called the GTX Boxer.
Yeah, kind of looks like
as the Germans call it for short, das Rheinmetall gepanzerte Transportkraftfahrzeug.
Yeah, sure. No, I speak German, so I understood that, but he exaggerated a little bit here with the accent. It's as if I spoke French and I was making like some kind of super Parisian accent to make it sound even more French. That's what he did, but yeah.
Which looks very similar to the Atlas variants we have, and it has its own variants as well. But there's one that also gets higher and blockier in the back compared to the base variant, and that is an armored medical transport.
Oh.
I just think that the similarity is kind of interesting. So this could be a more military, stronger armored upgrade from the medical Nurser.
I mean, transporting a vehicle like that would not be easy, unless it has a medical bed of 2nd tier, not tier 3, tier 2.
I think you could argue if that is really necessary, but it would be another of those rather easy tasks they like to use for onboarding, so to let new artists learn their software pipeline.
Yeah, right. And give it a tier 2, and then it becomes useful.
It would add to the world building and different manufacturers having different solutions for similar scenarios. Base building, sure, would be more interesting right now, but the similarities with the real-world counterpart were so obvious, I wanted to point it out.
I'm baffled. You know, I thought I'd be watching just a little part of the video, and really, I want to watch the whole thing.
At this point, I want to quickly both thank and apologize to my Patreon and membership supporters, because it has been a long time since the last video.
He even has the
I said from the beginning that I wanted
like
to
this.
create high-quality, original and creative Star Citizen content and not start to do filler content to please the algorithm, and that results in those gaps. So a heartfelt thanks to those that support the idea.
Trist, believe me, I know what it is. On my main channel, that's what I do. Filler content to please the algorithm. Both solutions are hard. It's really hard to make high quality content because when you do and people are not following, it's very frustrating. But then when you don't, people label you as someone who makes filler content. And when you make quality videos, they don't see them because they think it's going to be another filler video, right? So it's hard. In the end, just make something that you are happy with. That's the most important, I would say.
Now these members get very special stuff from time to time, like an interactive scene of the galaxy interior that I built and that they can play in their web browser. And lastly, I will add this very scene, this RCorp office that I built for my videos, and that is very much still under construction. So if you are a member already, you can have a closer look at all of this for yourself in your browser right after watching this video.
That is such a smart way to engage with the community. I approve.
Next is the flat one.
Oh yeah.
Last time I said I'm quite uncertain and focused on proving it's not the Intrepid. But then again, one of my viewers brought a detail to my attention that I missed. The small triangle here. In what I assume is the entrance ladder on the opposite side. That little detail tells us with a high level of certainty that this is in fact a consolidated Outland ship.
Oh.
So what are these triangle things here in the?
We just have to.
I think it's a far stretch.
I mean,
it could be an RSI as well.
Completely different in terms of function
but
and
it's
size.
True that consolidated Outland needs more ships.
Just based on finding the personality of CNOU in the industrial part.
Since that manufacturer only has a couple of ships in game at this point, we have a little less reference when it comes to design cues.
Here.
So before I show you what I came up with, let me show you what I read in the shape to explain a little why I came up with my guess. First, it's obviously tiny and very flat to the ground. In the front, some roundish container is placed to obstruct the shape, but I read some kind of entrance ladder as well as some small elevator for...
So what he's saying is like this could be some kind of transporter that would pick up and drop cargo. I would imagine, this ship you just hover and somebody uses a tractor beam and just snaps them. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. Which could be very useful.
For handheld boxes, I can't really make out a proper shape, but I feel
like a barge.
Both, and they are less close to each other than they appear here. Alternatively, this vertical block could just be a random box, again, to mess with the readability. But then a little to the rear, you can more or less clearly make out landing gear. And only now I realize it's very similar to the landing gear on the Pioneer with these thin metal things around them. So I would assume they are angled towards the center of the ship, and that would make this little shadow the gear on the opposing side.
Oh, so they are building that little vehicle perhaps as a prelude to the consolidated Outland Pioneer. Okay, got it.
I mostly get the direction from this shape in the back, which is oddly placed. It looks rather fragile here at the tail, and a weird place to have a landing gear, but it would fit.
The shape of the crate.
And then we have more boxes here, and I think here as well, because this area is a touch brighter and more hazed.
Yeah, we can see that these are definitely
make it
boxes.
harder to
so it's kind of a flat ship, eh? Commercial.
So, what I came up with is kind of a tiny Pioneer. Something that either sets the very first flag...
Look at that. This guy's good. This looks great. A tiny Pioneer, eh? Which would be like a transport vessel, which makes sense. A ship like that would totally make sense. You put the cargo containers underneath. Yeah, it would carry like the 60 SCU perhaps.
Flagpole into the ground before the big Pioneer comes to terraform the area, or something more suited to the private or semi-private sector. In gameplay terms, something that is in between the tiny base building cart that you can carry in any ship not dedicated to base building, and the Starlancer BLD that already requires a bigger crew than some people might.
I say it's just a cargo ship.
Want. Therefore, I see a similar bridge design as the Pioneer, and the other unconfirmed CNOU ships have, and the also iconic flat design, which might be designed to drop cargo from its belly without anyone having...
Man, it's got its own engine and its own ships, coming and going. This is so cool.
To actually touch and unload it, which could also make it an interesting ship to deliver resources to toxic or hazardous construction sites. The landing gear could, just like the Pioneer, be equipped with ground extractors, but we know too little about that feature to make any educated guesses. What makes this design a little more likely from a technical standpoint is that we learned that deploying construction drones from the bottom is tricky. That is part of the reason why they wanted to scrap the Galaxy base building module. From the side seems possible on Starlancer and Pioneer, but releasing them to the top seems easiest and most straightforward to me. The only thing that kind of strikes me is how small it actually looks. The person next...
Yeah, exactly, right? We can see the character right there. Which is why I don't think it's going to be a base building. A base builder. I think it's going to be a cargo ship. Which people are going to say, oh, another cargo ship. But still, why not? We only have the Nomad. Something a bit bigger than the Nomad.
To it would mean that it's not much higher than 3 to 4 meters and roughly 15 to 20 in length, which is tiny in Star Citizen terms. So I would not expect it to carry more than, let's say, 24 CU.
Oh!
The rear has no interior.
Whoa.
But please don't focus on those numbers, it's just super rough guesses. The person could stand closer than it looks like. But keeping in mind, this is mostly speculation, I feel that this concept would make a lot of sense if the rumors are true that they want to get an early version of base building into the game this year, or maybe it's shifted a bit.
Where did he hear this rumor?
No, but
I would like to know. Where are those
this size,
rumors?
even if the cargo capacity is very limited, would enable a lot more people to get their hands on the new gameplay. And unlike an expensive Pioneer or even the $250 Star Lancer would probably sell like sliced bread. And
yeah,
would also
maybe this would be like, if this ends up being a base builder, like a tiny one, you know, you could build like a little cabin or some basic or extractors perhaps.
Be a great fit for the more industrial focus IAE towards the end of the year.
There we go, calls it the Frontier. Super cool, awesome content creator. Let me see what else he has. I love this. Okay, he's got a fan reconstruction of the Paladin. He's got some of the modules of the Galaxy. Oh, wow, he's got a lot of videos about some of the ships that we don't have yet. This is awesome, man. Drake Shorts Air. Awesome. Well, just subscribe. Awesome content creator. Guys, check it out. I'll put the link in the description down below. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.